Good morning to Ratanachai. This is another gentleman from Sri Lanka. Hello.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning. So we have Nathan also here. Nathan from Philippines. Right?
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning to everyone.
Morning. You are even fast before us. Philippines now it's 10 o'clock already, right?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Anyway, we can start now because maybe a few more people coming. So I was asked to keep the time. Okay. So good morning. Hope you had a nice weekend. So we are now in day 4, right? I hope you enjoy the training, or I hope you gain something, learn something in the past 3 days. Well, as I remind you again that if you have any questions or any remarks or whatever, you can also always email us. And you have an email loop that we can contact all the time. Okay. So today we're gonna go to the brown issues. Because, well, by the way, this week we are going to ask you to take a group photo. So depending on how much time we have during even in my session or next session, or even a few next days, but we have to do that few times to get everybody in. So I don't know when we're gonna do it, but we're gonna take group photo sometime. You know, it'll only take a few minutes. Well, we will look at the brown issues. In the past 2 days, we focus on the more green issues like ecology, like peace swamp, which is green. Today we're gonna look at water pollution and solid waste. Will be taken up by myself and Dr. Pireeyutma Vanapruk. He's a solid waste specialist. Well, he's I think it's fair to say that he's now nationally renowned experts on solid waste. But he'll introduce himself better than I can do after my talk. Anyway, so these issues, the water pollution and solid waste, actually it can fit in basin management, but it also something that applicable beyond the boundary. So it can be applicable to town management, city management, so forth. Go ahead. Okay, so let's start at the very outset, very beginning, at the definition. So when you talk about water pollution, well, you know it's harmful to health and environment, and it's virtually any types of water pollution are harmful to health and to humans, animals. Well, water pollution may not damage our health immediately, but it can be harmful after a long exposure. So different types of pollutions are bad for us, affects to health at different ways. The mildest one, the organic matters. Well, you know that you can think of, you know, any water wastewater that go into the public water body. Definitely contains some organic matter, but organic and nutrients what? Nitrates and phosphates. So organic matters, well, these organic matter and nutrients, they are reactive. So they react with a lot of things, including oxygen. So organic matter, for example, it depletes oxygen. It takes up oxygen, reacts with oxygen. So when it takes up oxygen, that means it makes the water, the canals or the river or the lake, septic, becomes stink. So it causes, well, unpleasant thing to look at. So that's the first perception of the public that wastewater is that pollution, water pollution is something that they don't want, harmful to their health. And furthermore, well, the depletion of oxygen can be mild, but it can also go down to zero. Oxygen can be depleted until there's no oxygen left, and that means it becomes dead zone. It becomes something that's inhabitable. And also, if the other thing is the nutrients. The nutrients normally is good for being a fertilizer, but when a lot of nutrients go into water body, then it becomes food or become fertilizer for the plants. Then it causes eutrophication, which is already. Hold on, I try to get this. Quite the option. That's it. Okay. So it causes eutrophication, which is already explained by Dr. Sutini early on. But I took. Huh? Okay. Okay, I just show you the picture of eutrophication that we observed in 5 or 6 years, almost 10 years ago. It happened that area covered about a few hundred square kilometers, sort of a vast area, and that's what it looks like. That's what it looked like. A lot of macrophytes covering, well, you talk, as I said, talking about a few hundred square kilometers, and that, well, you can see now it's obstruct the boats for fishermen, and it's destroyed the whole atmosphere for tourism in the lake, and many things. And if this, well, you know that it's plant, so it takes up carbon dioxide in the daytime for the photosynthesis, but at nighttime it takes up oxygen, so that even the double effects that it again turns out to be killing zone for the fish. And we often found the mass killing for the fish due to the effects of this dead macrophytes in the lake at some times. So another impact of the water pollution, it contains suspended particle where you know that in wastewater there's something like biochemical oxygen demand, which is organic matter. There's also some suspended solid, not much. It's only a few tens of milligrams per liters. But when you talk about millions of cubic meters, so it becomes a lot of sediment settle, suspended solids in the polluted water. So it reduces light penetration to disrupt the growth of photosynthetic plants. And the bad thing, well, if the water is deep, it's okay. You have a lot of depth for taking care of this. But if the water is shallow, unfortunately for Songkhla Lake, we only have 1.5 meter deep lake. So this is the kind of thing that happened. Okay, so that red part is the part that sediment, so it's the shallower point. up to about 0.4 of 40 centimeter. But that's over 28 years. But well, the number is one thing, but the thing is the sedimentation is very serious. So you're talking about half a centimeter every per year. So that reduces the life of the lake from the natural life, which should be a few thousand years at least. If you compute, divided by the depth of the lake and the rate of sedimentation, you're talking about the expected life of the lake of somewhere in the order of a couple of hundred years. And if this occurs exponentially, like we expect for most anthropogenic activities, this would be probably much less than 200 years. And that's a real disaster for losing this nice lake. But this picture was presented to a lot of stakeholders, and it's a sort of, it's something that starts people to be aware of the problem. And we had a lot of measures to prevent this to occur, getting worse than this. Okay, microbial pollutants. So the resulting can, in some waterborne diseases through drinking water. Well, that leads to another. This is harmful to health, but if it results in waterborne disease through drinking water, that implies that it's also harmful to economy, because we have to improve our drinking water supply treatment. The treatment process have to be better and better. First, well, if I recall, probably happened also in your country, some 50 years ago, people use water, natural water from the canals, from the river, for their daily use. Well, some people drank it, but more people use swim in the lake or in the sea or in the canal. They're all clean enough. But now we have to take that water from the canal or from the river, whatever. Before use, we need to put alum. We have to treat that water, and it costs a lot of money. It's treating starting from the sand, called sand filter, and then recently we have to put some carbon into it because of the smell in water. And in some places, in most cases, you have to chlorinate it. So that affects the economy, as I said. It costs a lot of money to treat more and more to get a clean water out of natural water. Well, next thing, the worst thing is heavy metals, which happen to be also in polluted water. Well, the worst thing is this thing can bioaccumulate, which means if it very dilute in water, it becomes more concentrated, more accumulated in the fish, and in a higher level of the food chain, and it's more concentrated when it gets to our body. And well, some of these heavy metals can be carcinogenic. So types of water, wastewater, you're probably familiar with all these classification. A simple classification, just say municipality, municipal wastewater, industrial wastewater. Just say briefly so that we know what we're talking to each other. So municipal, well, we used to call it household, community wastewater, household wastewater. But since now it happened to be the responsibility, at least in Thailand, I don't know about in your countries, but in Thailand it is the responsibility of municipalities. So we often call it municipal wastewater. So it can be anything from household, wastewater from household, from shops, from hotels, condominiums, markets. Well, in Thailand, we still have that open door markets everywhere. Supermarket, department stores are around, but people still enjoy go to markets where they sell a lot of fresh fruits, fresh food, and then that also a major source of the waste. One of. So in the past, very simple septic tanks, where you all know where septic tanks are, right? It's just simple tanks that take the waste in, and then try to create the condition, maybe aerobic, maybe anaerobic, depends on, you can do both. Well, in the past, almost always anaerobic, but nowadays there's some technique that you can put some air in it. Well, if any, I say if any, that means in rural areas, they don't even have septic tanks, so the waste just goes into the soil, into the trees. That was in the past, but not very long past. I'm talking about less than 100 years ago. Septic tanks was around until well, I put it there, the first water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant in Thailand. Central treatment plant means that, well, septic, when you talk about septic tank, individual treatment, one house for one septic tank. But now central wastewater treatment plant, that means you have many houses in the town, put the wastewater together into one place and treat that wastewater. The first wastewater treatment plant was installed in Bangkok in 1990. Would you believe it? Only 30 years ago that we had waste treatment plant in this country. So very recent, and it go into operation in 1993. Very recent, and for the rest of the country, in 2005, there were 100 treatment plants in Thailand. Well, this 100 treatment plants in Thailand, they varies. We use stabilization pond, we use aerated lagoon. At stabilization pond, almost half of them, almost 45%. Stabilization pond is a very simple one. We make use of sunlight, so the sunlight create the condition that algae can grow and then can oxidize the waste. So that, well, you can do that if you have a big land and not too expensive. You can do that in the past. You probably cannot do it now. Or you can still do it if you in a very rural area. Aerated lagoon. That means the area would be reduced a little bit, and instead of using sunlight, you use the aerators. So that's what you call aerated lagoon. It become a mechanized. Activated sludge is a bit more advanced, so you return the sludge and so forth. It's more a constructed wetland. You mix between the natural wetland and you construct it. That means you create a wetland. It's not natural wetland, but it's used in few places. Rotating biological contactor, and all these. Well, you can combine all this. Actually, in the place where we live, about 10 kilometers from here, we have a combined system. We have a stabilization pond and constructed wetland. And in some other places, they might have suspended stabilization pond and activated sludge. Depending on the design of these, depends mostly on economic factor, and also the technology. If you have if you go to activated sludge or rotating biological contactor, you have to make sure that you have people who are capable of maintaining it. If you don't know much about maintenance, then we better use stabilization pond where we let everything go naturally. Now, I said I put there in general the service area covered vary from 20 to 60%. That means when you say that this city has treatment plant, it doesn't mean the whole city. The city of 100,000 people, only maybe about 20,000 pipe the wastewater into this treatment plant. Well, you can imagine, because the houses were built many years ago, so they already have treatment facilities, namely septic tanks. So they don't bother to pipe this wastewater to the central treatment plant, because the treatment plant, as I said, only very recent phenomena, only happened in Thailand less than 30 years ago. The central treatment plant. So only the new houses, the new houses that are worth piping the wastewater into the treatment plants, new hotels, because for now, as you all know, that the city grow very fast. So this new condominium, new hotels, and all that, which it's the area is too small to have their own septic tanks. It's almost impossible. So they better pipe the wastewater into the central treatment plant system. If you have any question, you can just shout and discuss with me anytime. So these are the picture. These are the picture of, on the left is the aerated lagoon. Yeah. And then on the left-hand corner is activated sludge. The right bottom right is a stabilization pond. This picture is very nice stabilization pond. Normal stabilization, most stabilization pond looks more natural than this. The above is rotating biological contactor. Just a picture. The photo varies. You can find all these pictures in the Google. And the design is, we're now becoming so fancy, wastewater. It used to be very dull looking, but now most wastewater, they try to make it nice looking for the public around. So it's getting, you probably, the engineers probably ask architects to redesign. Look at the wetland. The wetland is much more like public park. But anyway, so that you don't get objected by the public around. So next thing I would like to show you. Well, I won't go into detail of treatment plant because industrial. For industrial wastewater, I just show you a bit. Industrial wastewater. So this is an example of what happened in Songkhla Lake. Okay, as I mentioned to you earlier, most of the industry or factories only happened in the late 1980 and 1990, and until about year 2000, in the later part of the past century. And the industry grew very fast, very rapid along this canal, or the river, or the road, where the road and the river are parallel. So that facilitates the transportation of the products, and also the river is there, also facilitate both the incoming water supply and the wastewater sink. Well, when I say incoming water supply, actually we have public water supply that this factory can use, but some factory they can draw the water from the canal and treat themselves, depending on how much they use. So the industry, number of industry grow very fast within about 10 years, 12 years. It's all over. It's all over the basin. But this picture doesn't tell you much about the load of pollution, because I don't put it here. The size of the factories and the seriousness of the waste. So this waste type varies, usually require, so it varies. So it requires not only biological. Remember in the past slides, I said the household or the community or the municipal wastewater, you only need biological treatment. Biological treatment because you have biological waste. You have a biological components in the waste. When I say heavy metals in there, it's very, very, very minor, very, very small amount. But in industrial waste, you need also chemical treatment because they vary from factory to factory. Some waste recycling are installed. The example that I think of my head, the drinks factory, okay, the soft drink factory, for example. So they have a lot of water. So they recycle their wastewater because their wastewater is mostly organic. Actually, mostly sugar related. So they use that for planting the big gardens. Most of these factories they intentionally have big land, so they can reuse their water. Industrial estates. If you have industrial estates in your basin, it would be more easier manageable, because in industrial estate you have a limited area of confined areas, and you can impose the law, the rule that every factory have to send the wastewater for a mini central treatment plant in the industrial estates. But if you let industry grow like this, like a sprawl of the factories, so it becomes too late, or this growing of the factory was too rapid to put infrastructure in it. So in this it becomes something that you need a special management strategy. You have to control them, that they have to treat their wastewater up to the standard, and then you need to monitor them. It's more difficult than industrial estate, that you only control one entity, but now you have to control hundreds of factories. So you have to identify which one is priorities. Priority means that the wastewater is serious, so that you have the close monitoring. The monitoring system now is becoming more and more advanced. You have online monitoring in most factories. Now, industrial waste contains a lot of toxin mean toxic materials. That effects can be irritating, milding, that's itching, or can be fatal in some cases, or can cause immune suppression, reproductive failure, or even poisoning. Now, other types of, just to let you know that there are a few other types of wastewater. So agriculture, but we normally don't they are non-point sources, so it's impossible to or it's very difficult to manage this. So almost always that they use other ways of managing this waste. Well, mostly the danger of this the wastewater from agricultural is less than the other danger, like for pesticides. The more focus is on the pesticides into the food, into the fruits, into their products. So when they try to manage the use of pesticides for other reasons, for other objectives, for reducing toxicity to their fruits, for their food, so it becomes automatically control the non-poisonous solution. But still, there are a lot of these non-poisonous solutions around. Aquatic well, the raise the fish in the pond, in the pond near the lake, everywhere. And so they try to the local government people try to explain to the fishers to control the amount of food they use for the fish, so that you don't have excessive food that fall into the lake. Okay, and all sorts. Another type of pollution is the leachate from the landfill sites. Well, as you know, the landfill sites supposed to have a lining before you dump the waste in. Maybe Dr. Pireeyutma will talk more about that. But for many years after operation, or probably some misoperation, through the time, it may cause some leak of the leachate into the ground, but that which is difficult to manage. So all we do is to monitor, to make a monitoring well around, trigger us when the problems is so serious. Flushing dumping sites by flooding. This is so bad thing that occur, but it still occur sometimes during the large flood when we have a dumping sites. Some of them are illegal. Well, dumping sites supposed to be illegal anyway, but it's been accepted in many in some places, but it's illegal by law. But it can be flushed into the water bodies anytime. Other accidents, which if I have time, I'll show you. Other accidents which is uncontrollable, but some accidents can produce some toxic materials which go into the water. If we have time, we can show you just a simple, well, not a simple, it's just one small case, but it shows you that it's something that if we can prevent it, we would love to, but it's sometimes I want to go to the bigger picture after talking about the micro matters. Now the macro picture of the pollution control in this country. In the past, the pollution control department under the Ministry of Natural Resource and Environment was the key man for governing of the water pollution. So they set standards. They have technical support for the whole country. This is under 1992 Environmental Act, for the full name. The full name is much longer, but most people call it Environmental Act. We have already had two Environmental Acts in this country. The first one is 1970 something, in the 70s. In very near to the time EPA was set up in the United States. And that's about the time when this environmental law was enacted in most countries, including Thailand. This is the second Environmental Act. So it stipulate many things, including wastewater treatment, wastewater management, and Department of Industrial Work will enforce the factory under under a few laws, including because they have more than biological wastewater, so they sometimes need to follow the Hazardous Substance Act if depending on what kind of pollutants from that factory. And provincial and local government administration have to implement under the same standard. Under the same standard. Okay, under the same standard. But for public, for household wastewater, normally I don't want to use enforcement. Mostly they try to cooperate, try to educate people to do the right thing to keep the environment clean. It used to be the responsibility of the pollution control department until very recent, until 3 years ago, that the responsibility was transferred to the local administration. Now, all of a sudden, it come the Office of National Water Resources was set up in 2018, very late, cross between 18 and 19, 2 years ago. And this Office of Natural Water Resource, I put it in writing here, ONWR, Office of Natural Water Resource. The task, see the water management in this country have been under several departments, had been under several departments for many years. And it caused a lot of problem for coordinating, because water, as you know, is something that cut across everything, cut across the demand of everybody, and the responsibility cut across many departments. So they try for over 20 years to think about how to integrate these responsibilities of like 20 or 30 departments. So at the end, in 2018, the government, the government managed to enact the Water Resource Act. At the same time, managed to establish the what we call Office of National Water Resource, which look after everything water resources. Everything means water supply, flood and drought, water quality. Well, these are 4 main things. So this Office of National Water Resources will be responsible that everybody is supplied with water. Everybody means industries, public, people, communities, farmers, agriculturalists will be adequately supplied with water. We have water security, okay, and with good quality, with acceptable quality. And also they have to take care of or combat with the disaster of flood and droughts. So their job is very difficult. So, and it's beyond their capability alone. So their duty is not to do it alone. They're not stand-alone organization. They have to coordinate with many departments. So but today we only focus on water quality. So their job is the task, the mandate is to develop policy and master plan and translate that into implementation. But this is very difficult, extremely very difficult. If you, well, I believe most of you are in government sectors, you know how to integrate this. Very difficult. So they have to planning integrate sport. I put, you know, I don't know, the law said integrate, but I say coordinate is enough if you can coordinate. But the next thing, the best thing is you have to integrate. But at least you should be able to coordinate all activities concerning water resource. That means you have to make sure, you know, you're taking care of all these matters. You know, you have to be able to make the people resilient to flood and drought. You have to provide security of water supply and to make sure that water have good qualities. So all activities include budget and assessment of the whole water. This, when I say all activities, I mean this is the most important. If pollution control department, they have to propose the request for the budget from the government every year. It has to be, if anything related to water quality, to water supply, to flood and drought control, it has to be approved by this office before it goes to budget bureau. That is one mechanism for integrating. Budgeting is the most important for the government department. And then after budget is approved, then pollution control can go and work for, you know, for the whole year. And then at the end, it has to be assessed by this Office of National Water Resource. Now, this is a very difficult task. It's authorized by the Water Resource Act. The work is so difficult that I cannot tell you whether it will be successful, because it's only start now. I mean, 2 years ago, and they use the tool. One of the tools they use is they look at every basin. This is they work by basin wise, you know. Okay, now the Office of National Water Resource, they work basin wise. So we divide the country into 22 basins. They call it watersheds. It's the same thing. We are here. They don't call us Songkhla Lake. They call it Thale Sap Songkhla. So they call us Thale Sap. Thale Sap means lake. Yeah, Thap from Cambodia would be familiar with this word, because you have Tonle Sap. So we have Thale Sap Songkhla, which is Songkhla Lake, same thing. But in legal documents, they have to use Thai word. Even the spell it in English, they still keep the Thai word. Anyway, Thale Sap Songkhla is somewhere here, number 20, and all the rest are here. So now they first starting last year, they make a plan. That plan is so difficult and time consuming. Took 1.5 years to make that develop plan. The reason why I tell you in details is that I think this can be a good case studies if you follow what would happen in the next few years in Thailand, whether this integration of water resource activities will be successful or will have to be corrected in some parts. So they make a plan based on, they use a technique, as I told you the other day, strategic environmental assessment. So whatever plan for the water resource in this area, actually three of the, if I can, okay, 3 of this. Okay, analysis. three basins, Chi Basin, Moon Basin, and Mekong Basin. Northeast Mekong Basin. No. The number is wrong. This is number 3, not number 2. Yeah, I think this is number 3, not number 2. The part of Northeast Mekong Basin and the Chi and the Moon already completed their plan. What the plan is very new to this country as well, that they use a strategic environmental assessment. That means they ask the people, millions of people, and to get the consensus, almost consensus of what they want the future to be in the next 10 years, 20 years from now. And they set up the plan with respect to water use. Okay. And then, as I said, they operate, they administer the water resource basin-wise. And actually, the implementation of this plan will start almost now. Actually, this is September. In Thailand, we call October at the beginning of the fiscal year. So I can't tell you now the success of this integration, but in the past, the wastewater treatment handled only by pollution control department and the local authority, but now it will be overseen. Let's call it overseen by Office of National Water Resources, but the real operation is still under local department, under local government and pollution control department. Okay, this is just I just put it here because of the SDG targets which related to. Now, I would spend a little time on this. The thing that I already mentioned to you about the pollution that may be caused by the accident, but this is not an accident. This is the past event in the past that I said here, the case example which ends up with the near irreversible impacts. The mines in more than 50 years ago, and then I hope this will not be repeated in any countries. But there have been incidents like this in many countries. You know, for example, Love Canals in the U.S. and 3 Mile Island. But in some places they managed to evacuate people from that area. But in Thailand, we still have people live there, but they have to confront with the disaster that some people did in the past. So let's view a little bit in here. Well, thank you for joining this class. So next will be Dr. Pireeyutma Vanapruk. He will take care of the solid waste management. And well, I think this is a good time to take a break after this for like say 10 minutes, and the stage will be transferred to Dr. Pireeyutma. You, as I said, he is a real renowned expert on this matter, on solid waste management. So see you guys in 10 minutes.
Okay, shall I start? Hello.
Yes, please start.
ขอบคุณนะครับ Thank you อาจารย์ชัดชัย in the morning อาจารย์ชัดชัย have already briefly about my history. In fact, I graduate from this faculty also from PSU. From now, I will take about half an hour or 45 minutes talking about solid waste management. I will start from broad from the problem of the country, I mean Thailand, and then we come back to the place that we are focusing, Songkhla Lake Basin. As other speakers, when they start, they will talk about definition. I also would like to have the same understanding with you all. When we talk about solid waste in this session, it means that municipal solid waste. That is exclude industrial waste and also hospital waste or infectious waste. So we have the same understanding, same meaning. This meaning is comprised to the definitions stipulated in the law of Thailand, in Act on the Maintenance and Cleanliness issued by the government of Thailand in 1992. And these acts, most of local, not most of, every local administrative or when I said local administrative, is mean in some country they said local government, but we always call this local unit as local administration. So before I will start my presentation. I will take a few minutes to introduce myself. So as Dr. Chatchai introduced already, my name is Pireeyutma. My surname is Vanapruk. So my name, in fact, is the combined word. The root of the name is Sanskrit. It sounds like Indian people, but not Indian. I'm really Thai. I start a career, my best, I graduate civil engineer, same as the Ajahn Chatchai. But after that, after working for a couple of years, I continue my master degree on economy, and then I graduate PhD in this faculty also in PSU. During my career as a civil engineer, I have opportunity to join the working team to develop solid waste treatment complex. It means that the construction for solid waste treatment complex. This is about 30 years ago. This project is under patronage of the Majesty the King. So the location, the site location that we want to build in the King Palace, because our late king want to demonstrate if we have a proper process to handle solid waste, then there will be benefit other than impact. But because the waste amount in the palace is not enough, and it's not suitable to bring waste from outside to the palace. Then the project has canceled, but the budget to construct that complex has transferred to other municipality. So when we talk about complex treatment complex, it means that for disposal method is combination, starting with waste separation, then each type of waste has to be treated properly. So in that complex is what design composed with separation line. Then we have organic waste, and we use anaerobic digester to produce methane gas or biogas. Then biogas we use as the fuel to generate electricity. So other fraction of waste which is combustible, then we assume that it has to be incinerated, and we use heat also to produce electricity. That is the idea. That is 30 years ago. But once we canceled the project in the King Palace, the project has transferred to one municipality in eastern part of Thailand. But because of limited budget, and later on after construction of this complex, the operation handled by municipality, we cannot get the result as expected. Then I can say that a few years after the construction complete, the project is failed. So that is a bad experience for me also. So that is a little bit background and my experience. So starting learning about solid waste as the engineering sense. At those days, I also have a question that why the people always object this kind of project, especially when we talk about solid waste. I think you also have heard the word NIMBY, not in my backyard. So it's happened in every country, I think. In Thailand also it's severe. When we talk about solid waste management, treatment complex, even the simple landfill construction of landfill site, the people always protest. That is, I got the question 30 years ago when we are doing, why I'm doing the King project. So we learned that the most important point is not the technology or engineering. The success of the solid waste management project is how can we convince the people to accept the project? Or later on, I learn, I understand the word public participation. So from engineering sense, I have to work as sometimes people call me as the NGO on solid waste management. Okay, I have some slide to share with you. So during my presentation, if you have any question or suggestion or you want to discuss, then you feel free. I will start sharing my presentation now. Okay, as I mentioned, we all now understand that when we talk about solid waste in this session, it means that we talk about municipal solid waste, not include industrial or in factors. But anyway, nowadays we experience pandemic. In my first slide, this is the statistic of the waste amount in Thailand. So COVID-19 pandemic start in 2019. At that year, the waste amount of the country is 28.71 million. You can see 5 years back, waste amount always increased. That the increasing of waste amount is about 3 to 5% per year. 3 to 5% per year. But after pandemic, the waste amount is reduced in 2020. The waste amount is reduced by 5%. So if we consider waste amount per day is about 70,000 tons per day. In Thailand, we have population about 70 million people. So divide by number of population, you can get waste generation per capita. I jump to the other slide. Okay, come back to the first slide. I would like to give you a little bit about Thailand. In Thailand, we have the area about 500,000 square kilometer. And as I said, after we divide waste amount per year by number of population, then you will get waste generation per capita. That is 1.13 kilogram per day in 2019. Then 2020 is reduced a little bit. But anyway, this figure will be useful when we want to know in which province or in which municipality how they generate waste. So if you look at this world map, any country which generate solid waste per capita over 1 kilo per day, 1 kilo per day. That means this faded yellow. Thailand here Thailand here. So Thailand here. So solid waste generation per capita, as I mentioned, is about 1.13 kilogram per day. So we are in the yellow color here, brown, light brown or something like that is. But in America or in European country or in Australia, you can see that the people generate solid waste over 1.5. So it depends on economic or GDP of each country. Okay, this graph is based on information of Bangkok. So after COVID pandemic, as the first slide showing to you that the waste amount of the country is reduced. So the same in Bangkok also reduced. You see, this is the 2019, 18, 17. So the waste amount is above that. So in Bangkok, waste amount generated is over 10,000 tons per day. 10,000 tons per day. So for the whole country, solid waste is generated about 70,000 tons per day. So it's 1/7 of the country. Then after pandemic, most of activity, you can imagine some activity possibly closed down. So solid waste has reduced to something here, the orange line here. And for this year, we just have this information I get on June 2 months ago. You can see this year, the waste amount is reduced more. But when we compare with before pandemic, so the waste amount of Bangkok is reduced 10% by 10%. That is larger than what I mentioned for the whole country is reduced 5%. The simple question is, why waste amount in Bangkok reduced more than the average? So we have to look at statistic here. How can I remove this? This one is the waste generation rate per GPP or gross provincial product. It's like GDP, but we specific only in the province, not for the whole country. You can see the position of the Bangkok here. So before 2019, the waste generation is per year, that is about 800 something. So divide by number of days in a year is about over 2 kilograms per day. So once most of activity, commercial activity closed down because of pandemic, then the waste amount generated by supermarket, by market, by commercial areas not so active, then the waste generated in those places has been reduced. So that is why the percentage of waste reduction of in Bangkok is larger than the average. The other things about waste composition. When we discussed about waste, there are two important words that we always talk about. One is waste amount, waste quantity, as I mentioned. The other one is composition. The composition is depend on lifestyle, social structure, or consumption way of the people. So in Thailand, now we half of waste amount is come from food waste, organic waste, or something is left over after eating food. So you can see this graph. I compare between last year 2020 and 2 years after 2018 and 2016. I try to compare because after pandemic, everyone always thinking that the portion of plastic, especially plastic bag, plastic package, must be increased because we have to work from home. Just now, I also live from home, so that's why I don't need to put on mask. So everyone always think that okay, then waste plastic must be increased. But according to information of Bangkok, now I can get information only in Bangkok because in other province or other municipality, it may take time to get information. Then I compare 2020 is the years that we got a pandemic with other 2 and 4 years before. So you can see that the portion of plastic, recycling plastic and non-recycling plastic, the red one is represent this last year. Only non-recycling plastic, of course, maybe single-use bag, shopping bag, that is increased, but it's not increased substantially. Recycling plastic almost the same. So the question is, the waste generation in household may be increased because some office is partially open. The people has to stay home, work from home. Many governmental office also closed and the people has to work from home. Then waste generation source is changed from their office, from their working place from department store to home. But it's not much because the whole waste amount is also decreased. Then the proportion of plastic still the same for the whole. But anyway, there's something has to find out. Now I'm searching for information of some large municipality like Chiang Mai. We can say that the big city in the northern part, and in Hat Yai, where PSU located, and Phuket, world-class destination. Now we have Sandbox Phuket experimental, how we can start tourism in this situation. And we can conclude that it may right that the portion of plastic waste is increased. So this is the situation of Thailand now. We generate solid waste in a day for the whole country is over 70,000 tons per day. And waste composition of Thailand, 40 to 50% is food waste, and we have plastic about between 15 to 20%. Now we have less paper. We have less paper. Okay, because newspaper is not famous in Thailand now. Many newspaper has closed down. The printing business has also closed down. People change to entertain information or news by TV, media, or you have iPad or any means. So the portion of paper is reduced, but the plastic is, like I said, between 15 to 20. So that is the situation of the country. Then that is the waste generation. Now we talk about disposal. As I firstly mentioned about waste reduced because of COVID pandemic. So I got information from Bangkok. We call Bangkok Metropolitan. In fact, Bangkok is the kind of local administration. Bangkok is not province, but it looks like province. It's the special local administration. This is the definition of law. In Thailand, we divide, we categorize the administration system as the 3 layers. The upper one is the government. Then the medium one or the second one is the province. And after that, there will be localities. So locality is the unit of administration we call local administration. We're not local government. In fact, I don't like calling local administration as the government because it's not independence. So, but anyway, I understand that in other countries, they always call, or in paper or the research, they always use the word local government. So for simple understanding, I also will use the local government in this presentation. So as I said, we have 3 layers, government, province, then we have local government. By law, local government has to handle solid waste management. We have, for the country, we have over 7,500 local government. So you can imagine the country with the area of 500,000 square kilometer divided into 7,500, more than that, local government. So there are some big, some medium, some small. So we always call local administration or local government depend on the size and population as SML. The large one, not only in scale, but is established by different law, just we call special type of local government like Bangkok, and also the other one is Pattaya city. So for small local government and even medium size, they have limited budget and lack of skilled officer. So for the waste management, we rarely find a good practice on that. So we can say that solid waste management are unsatisfactorily performed by small, especially small size local unit. That is poor efficiencies of correction, cost overrun, and also leak of wastewater during transportation and also disposal side. One word this morning, Dr. Chatchai mentioned is the flushing dumping site. So it means that during rainy season or during flush, waste, solid waste from dump site always flushed to what? River, and also to Songkhla lakes. But anyway, that situation we know, we understand that we have to improve. And the way that we try to improve is the government has introduced the law of private sector. This is alternative. This is the option of improving service quality of local government. And law of private sector has also mentioned in national policy. So when we talk about the policy, in fact, we have policy about waste management long times ago. 30, 40 years, we also have the policy, but it's also gradually developed. In those days, or even now, the policy is rely on not rely on was made by the concept of linear consumption. So those days, very few people understand recycling process or 3R. Those days, 20 years, we always campaign that you have to put the rubbish, put the waste into waste bin. Just throw waste into the waste bin. But now it's not throw into the waste bin, but you have to throw to collect waste bin because we are going to separate waste. But those days when nobody mentioned about waste separation. That is development of policy. But very clear policy starting in 2014 when we have the government form military. They call their policy as the roadmap on solid waste and hazardous waste management. And 2 years later, this roadmap has been derived into master plan. So we call National Solid Waste Management Master Plan. There are 4 points, 4 important points. One is the expedite clean up accumulated solid waste in unsanitary disposal site and all illegal dump site. As Dr. Chatchai has mentioned, when we talk about dump site, it's always illegal. Yes. So because the 7,500 local government, well, is constructed as sanitary landfill, but is operated like a dump site. When we talk about sanitary landfill, it's when you construct the site with you have to prevent the leakage of the leachate or wastewater from solid waste to underground water. You have to protect by plastic or SDPE sheet or compacted clay or something like that. And the operation as landfill you have to operate, you have to compact and fill with some kind of material, inert material or soil, top up on solid waste daily. But very few of a few hundred sites can properly operate landfill. So as I said, the construction is the sanitary landfill, but operate like a dump site. Maybe 1 month they fill back with soil and compact, or some site never done it. So the first thing of the policy or master plan is expedite cleanup. They want to clean up on legal or on dump site or any landfill site which operate not proper. The second one is to promote appropriate solid waste management and enhance participation of private sector. So as I mentioned, the enhancing participation of private sector is alternative to improve capability of the public service of the local government. And by enhancing participation of private sector, so for participation of private sector, the decision of private to participate, they have to be ensured that they can take profit or they can get enough income. And then the government has to promote waste to energy, because once they can dispose solid waste and generate electricity, and the government will buy the energy back in a special way. So I will explain later. So that is the second, is promote appropriate solid waste management and participation of private sector. The third one is the scale up project to be feasible for investment and operation by clustering local government within manageable area. So this is mean that they promote or encourage the collaboration between local government. So as I said, 700 or 7,000 local government, each local government has their own disposal facility. Some small, some medium, some large. The large one is only a few hundred sites. So the operation unit rate of operation is a little bit low when you compare with a small, because when you buy one machine to compact to use in landfill, but the waste amount is the size is larger then the operation cost, unit operation cost will be lower. So this policy is encourage collaboration between local government, and if they can work together instead of have several sites, several small sites, they can use the central site, only one. But the problem is the cost of transportation may increase. Then they have to work out comparing between transportation costs and operation costs by their own. Generally, if the transportation distance is not over 50 kilometers, is manageable distance that the collecting truck can run from the city to disposal site, and cost of transportation is not increased so much. So that's why we use the word clustering. Cluster is mean that many municipality or many local government can join together and use one facility, disposal facility, either is the central landfill, or if it's large enough, they can develop to incinerator or waste to energy. Of course, they it can consider. And if it's large enough to convince or attack the interest of private sector, of course, they can invite private to co-invest or invest. It depends. That is the word we use, scale up the project. And the fourth one is the legislative relevance laws and ministerial regulation. So after 2016, there are some some law that legislated, and it's very important. Now we use the new law for solid waste management that I will talk later. Instill public awareness and discipline on waste separation. So as I said, 20, 30 years ago, we talked about how to drop the waste into the waste bin. But now we have to talk about waste separation. So this is the changing or development of the policy. This is the law that I mentioned. This law is just like a Bible for local government now. Is the issue on 2017, 1 year after the government declared National Solid Waste Management Master Plan. The highlight of this policy is the National Policy Roadmap for Solid and Hazardous Waste Management has given guidance to every province to congregate local government. So now every province, 77 provinces in Thailand, has to consider how to congregate or cluster the local government in there and develop central solid waste disposal facility instead of the scattered unsanitary dump site. Therefore, central disposal facility could be scaled up and some of them be large enough to be financially feasible for private investor. To enhance participation of private, Ministry of Interior instruct every province, that is I mentioned before. Okay, so come to Songkhla Lake. Recent survey revealed that 80% of marine debris or waste in the lake or in the ocean come from land activity of people, such as leaving trash on the beach, direct throwing into the water, and flushing, dumping site. Debris can carry by storm drain, canal, river. When we talk about basin, basin, we have river, we have canal, and we have this river, this canal flow through the city, and every city have their dump site or disposal site. If it's flood or the site is not protected properly, then solid waste will flow along the canal, storm drain or river to the lake. Or even wind. Strong wind can blow trash from dump site or landfill site to the canal, to the river, and finally to the lake. So Songkhla Lake, now you get used to Songkhla Lake already. Songkhla Lake in the south. Songkhla Lake is covered the area about 1,000 square kilometer. That is the surface area of lake. It's bordered two provinces, Songkhla and Phatthalung. And average depth is about 1.5 meter. Okay, this is the Songkhla Lake. So Phatthalung province is here, and Songkhla is around here, and also here is Songkhla side. Phatthalung is here. But when we talk about the basin is covered the area, precipitation area here. Also, we have a little bit area of Nakhon Si Thammarat. When we talk about basin, is covered 3 provinces, but the lake surface area is only these 2, Phatthalung and Songkhla. Okay, as I mentioned before, that 80% of waste, solid waste in the lake or in the ocean, or we call marine debris, is 80% is come from on land activity. Then we look at disposal facility, on land disposal facility. First in Phatthalung. Based on last year annual report of Regional Environment and Natural Resources Office, we have this office, Regional Environment and Natural Resources Office. Is this office is under the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources. Now has been transferred to be a part of PCD, Pollution Control Department, but the same ministry. Now it's a little bit changed. Earlier, they are worked out on economic skill. They provide some knowledge to local government, to the province. But now they're going to work as like EPA. They have to investigate the problem and suggest to the province and to the government how to solve the problem, and they have to take, I don't know, they may be some change of the law that they can authorize something that is the future, but their law has a little bit changed from earlier by working like EPA of in Western country. So based on their annual report, in Pathalung, the total waste amount generated within the province, is about 520 tons per day. Not much. It's quite interesting. There's only 50 of 74 local government can provide waste collection services. It means that about 24 local government is maybe very suburb, rural area, and not so big, small size of local government. They may not have enough budget to provide waste collection service, or the density of population is not much, very light population or something like that. So there are only 50 of 45 local government can provide waste collection service. But when we consider the disposal facility, there's only one landfill site in this province, and it's close to the lake. Thale Noi is a part of Songkhla Lake, and this landfill site is belong to Pathalung municipality, where is Pathalung municipality is the center of the province. What happened to other local government in Pathalung? They also have disposal facility, but it's just dump site. You see, dump site here, just beside the lake. So you have no doubt there are some leaches or trash can also flow in the lake. Okay, that is Pathalung. Now we come to Songkhla province. Songkhla province, in terms of population and commercial activity, Songkhla is more active and more populated. So solid waste generated within Songkhla municipality is more than 1,500 tons per day. This is recorded in 2019, but only 40% of those of these 1,500 has been disposed of properly. So by one incinerator and 3 sanitary sites. Where's 3 sanitary sites? One is belong to Songkhla municipality. It close to the Gulf of Thailand here. And this is the channel, connecting channel between Songkhla Lake and Gulf of Thailand here. So the location of landfill site is here. I have been there. The operation of this landfill is acceptable, it's okay. The other landfill site is here is Vanapruk. Is also close to Chatchai municipality. And we have Sadao here. You may have heard this name Sadao municipality because they have basin here also. Basin, Utapao basin, somewhere here. These 3 sanitary landfill site is acceptable. They perform very well in standard. But the other one on the red circle here, this is incinerator. So you can see that with this acceptable operating landfill site and 1 incinerator that can handle 40% of waste generated within the province. But it's the same as Patalung. There are some other dump site and also landfill which not operate in standard, in accepted standard. Here we still have here. Some is close to the lake. So I have put the red circle in Chatchai disposal facility as the incinerator, 1 incinerator here, because this is the result of national policy, which I have mentioned before, that national policy enhance the cooperation, collaboration of local government and encourage private participation in solid waste management. And this is the trend, is the result of national policy. So incinerator of Chatchai municipality is good at is good sample. Chatchai is the last district of the Songkhla province. Is located close to the lower part of the Songkhla Lake. And Chatchai municipality is the major city of the district. Is function as the commercial center of the province. Registered population of within Chatchai municipality is about 160,000 in 2020 last year. So the waste generated within municipality is about 160 tons per day. So before they start operation of incinerator, or I can call it waste to energy, because it's not only incinerate waste, but it's also convert the heat energy to electricity energy and sell to national grid. So before December 2014, solid waste collected in Chatchai municipality and also in neighboring local government disposed in landfill site, the same site of this incinerator. So this is the things. They have already been a cluster of local government already. Not only this post for Chatchai solid waste, but for other neighboring local government. Then this incinerator is invested by private sector with two reasons. One, Chatchai municipality can scale up the project. If the waste amount is only 160 tons per day, it's not large enough. It's not feasible for investment. But after they accept waste from other local government, neighboring local government, then this project is larger, expand from 160 to 250 tons per day. So this is the scale of the project, 250 tons per day. And the second reason is, after they convert heat energy to electricity energy, they can sell electricity in special rate. I think it doubled from selling rate. Normal selling rate is about 20 cent US dollar cent, 20 US dollar cent. So they can sell. But normally, if you have power plant with using biomass or coal, biomass, you can sell. If you can generate electricity, you can sell about 10 cent, 10 US dollar cent per kilowatt hour. But for waste to energy, you can sell in double rate. This means about 20 cent US dollar cent. So that is two reasons that convinced a private company to invest on waste to energy, and that is waste to energy of Chatchai. And for Songkhla, in near future, there will be another waste to energy, which will be replaced this one soon. Now they are during negotiation with a private company. There will be another waste to energy facility here. Then I hope that with waste to energy, the capacity of disposal of solid waste will be increased from 40% to something 50, 60. Then the problem of waste to make impact to Songkhla Lake will be reduced. So that is we hope to reduce impact to ecosystem of Songkhla Lake from solid waste. All local government within basin, especially surround along the lake, are need to improve their capability of waste management for collection and also disposal. And collaboration of local government could enlarge size of the project to be more financially feasible, then could attract private investment that can relieve the burden of the government and also local government. But anyway, as I mentioned before, that starting from 2014, the ideology of making a policy of solid waste management has also changed. Now we know more linear consumption style. The government also promoting circular economy. So for solid waste management, we also follow this solid waste management hierarchy as a directive to improve capability. As I mentioned that in the policy also stipulate about 3R activity. Then after 3R activity, if there's something has to be disposed, then before final disposal by landfill, we have to get to extract energy from the waste as much as possible. That we call energy recovery. So incinerator or waste to energy is just a part of that, of energy recovery. But the most important is the 3R activity. So to success on this 3R activity, we need public participation. We need public participation. If we success on public participation on 3R activity, then energy recovery will be easier. Cost of waste to energy will be lower. And we hope that for financial disposal landfill, there will be not much contaminate, or in terms of quantity will be very less. So that is about solid waste management. I will take this presentation back to Dr. Chatchai.
No, you here with me.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Pireeyutma. Now the floor is open. Thank you very much. As you can see, these are the the brow issue of the basin management. Now the floor is yours to exchange what kind of experience you have in your country compared with what we have presented. This is the example. Actually, not only the Songkla Lake Basin, but looks like both I and Dr. Pireeyutma mentioned the issues covering the whole country. And this is the situation we have. Both solid waste and wastewater. Well, admittedly, it's not at a preliminary stage. So we have probably less than half of the whole country is being well managed, and the rest that we still have to improve. So what would you like to share with us, please? Okay, it looks like all of you here. Anyone have any idea, have any remarks to share with us?
I think Mr. Tash, please. Mr. Tash from
Yes, Mr. Tap. Yes, saw your hand.
You switch on your microphone, please.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. And the first of all, I would like to thank Mr. Chatchai that replied from volume of the reservoir of the SoundCloud.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That this one, the clarification of this one.
Yeah.
And I very interesting about the waste management and solid waste. I'm very interesting, but solid waste that is your country, Thailand, they by law or by legislation or policy, that is one is good information or idea, that is one. But I heard that in SoundCloud River Basin, you have 2 provinces that cover 2 provinces. That is one. And almost in the basin, a lot of big farm, pig farm.
Big
farm.
Yes.
In the upstream of the SoundCloud River Basin, that is one both province. And in the slide you mentioned about non-point source pollution and point source pollution. I think in the pig farm is you can manage because it's under the private sector or under the law. That is one. Pig farm. But for the non-point source, there is many source that will be polluted in the SoundCloud lake. That is one. How to manage the non-point source pollution? That is one. And how the private sector to pay for the solid waste. How many baht per ton they need to pay? This one, my question: how many baht per ton for the solid waste? This one, I want to know the rate of the this one. And thank you very much for presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, Dr. Chatchai, I will answer the question first about solid waste fee. About solid waste fee, right? Your question is about household waste. You asked whether
solid waste.
How much the fee for household, right?
No, for ton.
Yes, for ton.
Yeah.
Well, for ton, I think is about 500 baht or something.
500 baht. Okay.
Per month.
Okay, 500 baht, maybe around nearly $20. Yeah, around 18 or 18 or 17 dollar. Yeah.
per month.
Oh,
Because we also collect from household, so it's very old-fashioned. They collect only 1.2 US dollar per
okay,
household.
1 point. And you already mentioned about that the solid waste is from industrial waste, from medicine, from medical waste. This one. How about for the industrial waste and medical waste? That is one. The fee of this waste.
Oh, it's different. It's different.
Yeah.
So municipal solid waste, industrial waste, and medical waste is the we have different law.
No, okay.
So for this session, as I mentioned before, that we talk about municipal waste only.
Okay.
So the fee, I answered to you already, right?
Yeah. And
But
you don't.
for industrial, if you want to know, it depends on type of waste.
Okay.
So it's different law.
Okay. I'm very clear that your explanation. I'm very clear that it's one. And the Sun Cloud River Basin is 2 province that cover 2 province. How to coordinate between management of between 2 provincial level? Do you have a mechanism to coordinate between the 2 province? And some problem in the part of the another province, and some part is another province. How do you coordinate of this basin in provincial level?
Okay. In provincial level.
Yeah.
That is the Dr. Chatchai has to answer. He tried hard
First,
to make
get
the structure of collaboration.
Yeah. First, get back to your first question about pig farms. Pig farms actually, they instead of implementing or enforced by law, the government actually joined with university, try to help them to make them get benefit from the waste. So we teach them how to make a biogas out of the pig
Pig manure.
Pig manure, yeah.
Mm.
So actually we've been doing that for many years and quite successful. So we turn those waste into money. So that's how they agree to work on it. Otherwise they won't. Well, coming to the coordination between the 2 provinces, yes, very difficult, but at the end of the day, we managed to actually. I don't know whether we mentioned this before, but it used to be under Ministry of Environmental, Natural Resources and Environment.
Monterey,
Yeah. All right, same name.
Yeah.
So they all the time this is focused only on natural resource and environment. Of course, the 2 governors, they look after everything, economics and other things. But for natural resource environment, they sort of give some part of the control to Monterey. So they managed to do it. But of course it's not very straightforward. So they have to agree upon certain issues at the same time, because the interests of the people of the two provinces are a little bit different. One inside they concentrate on fishery, and on the outside on Songkhla province, since they have also opportunity for other things, aquaculture and paddy farms. So they interest more on freshwater
Yeah.
So all the time, they have argue all the time about how to preserve the fresh water by building salinity barrier, for example.
Mm.
And the other part of the lake, they focus more on the three waters lake, on the, the changing between the saline and the fresh water. So all the time, once in a while, they put up these issues that we have a lot of meetings to try to make them understand that we can live together with both benefit from each other to maintain the ecosystem. Yeah. So it's not easy, not straightforward, the two provinces. But the good thing about this is the strength of the people. So we have some problem about the governing of the lake basin, but the community are so strong, and actually they got together and established what we call Songkla Lake Basin Council with some we call it non-statutory organization. It's formed by people. It's not recognized by any law, but it worked. So we actually it's also we also got involved, the university. So we try to give them some technical scientific information, but the decision people. Yeah. So we have to work this all the time.
I think collaboration structure. I also interest to learn from Cambodia when you talk about authority, the special authority to look after Tonle Sap, right? You have
Tonle Sap have more than 10 provinces. How do you do it? More than 10 provinces.
Hello.
Yeah, we had in many years ago we had the exchange knowledge and exchange experience between Songkla Lake and Tonle Sap Lake, also under the funding by MRC Mekong River Committee. But I heard that in water utilization in Songkla River Basin, they use for irrigation, 80% for irrigation. The water utilization, water use for agriculture, among 81%. That is one. The government collect the water fee. The farmer they need to pay for the water for agriculture in Thailand.
Actually, by the new law, they're supposed to, but still now, until now, they don't charge water.
Yeah, in Cambodia also they don't charge, but they charge only water fee for service for operation.
Okay.
For operation.
Yeah.
But for the water fee they don't charge. They charge only for service or operation. That is one. But small amount. We don't have policy. We don't have enough policy for the farmer not to pay for water. But the law is in the law also is if some private they take water for business they need to pay. That is one in Cambodia. That this one. And I saw in that still do in Songkla Basin also 10% of the total, 10%, and for domestic it's 9%, and for irrigation 81%. I think it almost irrigation in Songkla River Basin. That is one. This is what good. And I saw that in the video that it's very beautiful lake in Songkla. It's very beautiful lake. I saw in the YouTube that this one, and a lot of biodiversity. That this one is that this one, and I think that this one, and so that the Cambodian and Thai they change experience how to manage the lake. This one, and the provide fund by MRC that this one. I'm very interested in Songkla lake, very interesting because this lake is near the sea. This is very so beautiful that, and how to manage the salinity, water salinity to the lake. That is one very carefully for water management, especially the seawater. That is one. When the Songkla water level decrease, that water, the sea level will be flow to the lake. That this one carefully. That this one. Yeah. I very interesting that this one. Thank you very much for your clear presentation. Thank you.
Regarding that MRC supported project, the people are very pleased with that a lot, and they the project had to stop because of the end of the funding from
MRC.
From the not MRC only, from the World Bank.
Oh yeah.
In the future, the people kept asking me about continuing this project. So one day we will have a chance, if we find a chance to continue that again.
I also want to visit the Sun Cloud River based river lake. I want to visit after maybe after COVID.
you are very welcome, but it's not me to allow you. It's the Thai International and Cambodian flight. The flight.
In the previous Cambodian team also visit there many days to observe to learn from the Sun Cloud River Basin management, to learn from Thai. That we call you are good management on the river basin on Sun Cloud, especially in Sun Cloud River Basin. That is one. That is a Sun Cloud River Basin is the sensitive basin. That is one in Thailand. So that very interesting. That thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you. Hope we can work together again.
Yeah.
So other colleagues, you have any remarks or some points you want to make? Oh, by the way, I think it's a good time to take a group photo. And please, can you, all of you, if you are here, just to open up to see your handsome and beautiful faces, so that we can take a snapshot. What you call it? A capture of the whole screen. Mr. Tulaningam, Mr. Tumai. Nathan.
How many we are now?
Nathan,
we are only 13. This morning we have 16.
Yeah, Mr. Tulaningam already here. Yeah, we have to do that a few times. Hi, Nathan from Philippines. What time is it in Philippines now? 1 o'clock.
Oh, it's almost 1. Yes, sir.
Yes. We have to try to make a few times this whole week probably. Another one from Tumai from Samoa. Okay, and how you do it? Aruna from Sri Lanka.
Tumai, we talked this morning.
Hi. we have two participants from Sri Lanka. Hi, Tumai is the most eastern. You are now almost 6 o'clock now, eh? Almost 6 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Just approaching 6 o'clock now.
Wow.
Tumai, you have lunch already, right?
Almost dinner now.
Yeah, almost dinner time.
So I don't know. We have to ask Anne. Anne is a computer lady. She knows how to capture. Can you do it from there, Anne? Why don't you also include it in it?
Tumai, you have to manage your camera because you are a little bit dark.
Oh, I think it's the sunlight. Sorry,
the sun is gone. The sun come to Thailand. The sun.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's almost nighttime here. It's nighttime by 7 o'clock here.
The sun is now in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Not the sun left Samoa. Okay, and please, you include it.
Okay, better. Now it's better.
Okay. Tell me when you're ready, Anne.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, you can.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Why aren't you here, Anne? Handsome.
Again, please. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. She's still hiding, but she'll be up here next time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So you have any other questions or remarks about this issue? As I said, this is the only period that we're gonna talk about the brown issues, the dirty issues. But we have to revisit the solid waste and the wastewater. Any? Okay, if not, now, well, thank again, Dr. Pireeyutma. I think you give a very informative presentation. I don't know whether it's the same in your country. The information about this solid waste and wastewater is very difficult to collect, you know, because it's especially this time of changing, the dynamic time. So the data change from month to month.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was difficult in the past, but now it's even more difficult. And even now, you know, I admire Dr. Pireeyutma that he can get this composition of the waste, because it's very difficult to analyze the composition of the waste now. Everybody is afraid of solid waste. It's full of diseases in the dump. So it's very, very difficult to get this kind of data. Well, oh, anyway, Nathan, I saw your hand. Nathan?
Yes, sir.
I saw your hand up. You have any remarks?
Yes, sir, regarding the biomass, the conversion of biomass, because
Conversion of biomass.
yes, sir. Because here in the Philippines, incineration is prohibited. It is banned. But I believe in the conversion of biomass to bioenergy. So I'm just curious, or I just wanted to know the data produced by the Chatchai incineration plant, if it's really significantly offsetting the use of other resources such as fossil fuels.
Biomass. There are a lot of biomass in Thailand now. Dr. Pireeyutma can help.
I couldn't get what Nathan is asking.
Yeah, Nathan, what's your question exactly?
Oh, the how much like the data for the biomass conversion? Like what is the total, let's say for last year or for the past couple of years? Like what is the data like?
The total of the whole country? Oh. Do we have that?
Of the whole country. Nathan, when you mentioned, you said about biomass and solid waste is different in the term or definition in Thailand. Biomass is mostly is the agricultural waste, like wood chip, rice husk, sugar cane or something. This is we call biomass. But solid waste is mean solid waste that collected from household and you have to incinerate and you get energy by product. So
yes,
so
sir.
the process between biomass power plant and waste to energy is different. So what you mentioned is biomass. You would like to get information about biomass, like?
Yes, sir. Like from the total data of solid waste you mentioned a while ago, like how much is biomass from that?
Can you do this? I have put my email address. You send this question again to me, then I can clarify if there is any information I can send you back.
Okay.
I think you asked about information, right?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What is the biomass mostly in Philippines? You're talking about this sugar cane. What left over from sugar cane? Or what?
As I have mentioned, sir, incineration is banned here in the Philippines, so we're not doing. So we basically don't have any data for that. So
I see. Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay. I think I saw your hand. Tulalingam?
In Sri Lanka, that solid waste is less amount that solid waste, because in Sri Lanka only 90% of population is urbanized. Others are in rural area. Therefore, we can our solid waste is less amount. The professor give the world map. We are in the safe waste zone in green layer.
The connection is not very good, right? Looks like the sound.
Now clear.
You said 90% urbanized.
Of urban populations are in 90%.
Okay.
But in Thailand is 51%. I think urban population.
Yeah, the data said so. Yeah, 50% population urbanized.
That's right. Another one in I am now staying in municipal area.
Yes.
There are solid for the waste management. We can separate it, the food waste and other type of waste, that polythene and other things separated, and the municipal people collecting that waste separated.
Okay, and what is the disposal method? From after they collect, the collecting truck will run to landfill or any kind of disposal method.
They dump in that outside of the city area.
That is the still open dump site.
Open dump site. And another medical or any water related waste we can send to sea. I think now that our industrial contribution is less amount. That's why we can not affected that industrial waste. In future we can handle the industrial waste also.
Okay.
Now that
Tula, you mentioned that you stay in municipal area. Which province you stay
in Colombo.
You're in Colombo.
Capital. Our capital
yes,
is Colombo.
Yes. Have you been or have you seen landfill site of Colombo?
That outside of land. Repeat that. I didn't get your words. Repeat the land. Hello.
The connection is lost or intermittently.
Okay.
Okay.
But the question is interesting, but too bad that it's very intermittent, loss. Can you email to us? Because the comparison is very interesting, because you are so much urbanized in Sri Lanka, as you mentioned, 90%. That's a lot. Because it looks like
no, not 90%, 19%.
Oh,
we have
19. Okay.
19,
less
19.
urbanization.
Okay, okay.
19. Okay.
Less growth.
But the density of the population in Sri Lanka is about the same as Thailand. So there must be the definition of urban.
I think it depends on the city. Colombo is very condensed.
Oh. Yeah, we have total 22 million population in Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
but less than 4 million in the city area.
Colombo.
Ah,
City.
right. And these 4 million are all mostly in Colombo.
Oh, not Colombo. Then near the Colombo also now urbanized districts. Some near to Colombo, some districts are now urbanized. Then every district also center part is urbanized. Every district. That surrounding part is that agriculture area is not urbanized. They have sustainable waste management. They using that waste for the fertilizers, use as a fertilizers.
Especially
Organic
in the rural area, right?
rural area.
Yes.
So you mean that you can turn organic waste to a kind of compost?
Yes. This year our government banned the inorganic fertilizer. Now we move to organic fertilizers.
Okay, that is compost.
Government encourage that organic fertilizers.
Yes, yes. Okay.
So
who will be in the country paper today? Did we have schedule or at 1 o'clock? I don't know. I don't have schedule here. Do you know who will be presenting the country paper today?
Philippines today, I think.
Nathan.
Nathan? Is it you? Hello, Nathan. Is it you? I don't know. I don't have
Philippines today, I think Philippines today.
Philippines, right? So it must
Yeah,
be
from Philippines,
Nathan.
yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so
Okay.
see you at 1
Okay,
o'clock.
bye bye. Bye
ส
bye.
วัสดี สวัสดี We adjourn. See you at 1 o'clock.
Okay, see you at 1 o'clock. Okay, bye bye.
Hopefully
see you.
Philippines. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Pireeyutma.
Thank you, sir.